Hello and welcome back to the Trajikast podcast here on GoldenPiDgeon Gaming. My name is Trajikast. Thank you for coming out. It is at the quote-unquote end of the year, close to the beginning of next year, and we're going to talk about presents. Not really presents, but the topic I'm going to talk about today is streaming services. Now, mind you, I don't have a Netflix, although I have been getting emails saying that I need to renew my subscription. Take it as you will. But all in still, there has been a concerted effort by a lot of people, a lot of companies, to have their own streaming services, and I think it's ridiculous. Netflix was the one company that at one point in time, it was the only company that you could use to cut the cord. You didn't want to pay for cable and pay for 19 packages that you had to pay this package to get this channel. Just depending on what channel that you wanted, determine what package that you got. And if you wanted to, like, the whole shebang bang, you had to go get everything. If you were still a man child and you wanted cartoons, you had to get this package. If you wanted sports, you had to get another package. And strangely enough, they never offered a la carte. When it comes to cable, they never offer a la carte, meaning is I pay only for the channels I want to see. That model did not work for cable because a lot of the stations and channels that were on cable could only get money if people paid for it. If people paid for them, so they were forced to pay for it. In alliance with the cable company in certain packages. Once you grouped everything together, everybody got their money. Whether you watch the channel or not, the companies got their money because it's like, oh, so many people, wanted to see us because we're on so-and-so package. Individual shows was taken care of by Nielsen. But I think that annoyed a lot of people. Nobody wanted that. I mean, this, certain channels that they wanted, which is probably just one or two, and all these streaming services that is the topic of this, they still want to offer local channels. Because, everything is still local. You still want to be able to get your local news. You don't want to be so dependent on, national news for everything for your local stuff. That I was standing back to cable. That was the big thing. And when it came to cable, they kept going up on the price, offering the same stuff, and they moved stuff around. And sometimes you didn't see it till the last minute, where you could have got out like, no, I don't want this package anymore. I want to go to another one because this one channel, which was the deciding factor in me getting this package and in getting cable, you took out of this package, and there's another one I don't really want. So it's not what people wanted. So people went to the digital medium and Netflix. And Netflix, bless their heart, they decided, well, we're going to get contracts. I guess digital syndicated contracts, if you can call it that. They went and got contracts and said, we'll show these particular shows on Netflix. And they did rather well. They did damn well. Back in the day, Netflix, they changed their model where instead of offering movies digitally, there were boxes everywhere, and where you can go up, rent a movie, put your credit card in, scan it, rent a movie, pull it out, and bring it back in 3 days. They also had a particular service in which you can subscribe to Netflix and you can ask them to see a movie and they will send it to you in the mail, in snail mail, send it to you. And when you're done with it, you'll send it back for somebody else to watch. And that's how they got notoriety. Then they became a digital medium in which a lot of movies and shows were shown. And that ticked off a lot of people because now you have this money stream going to somebody else, not them, because all they're doing is giving up licenses and having syndication contracts to go into Netflix. And it wasn't the same. It wasn't that, every show was available. Like, only certain shows were available at certain times, and of course they had contracts, so only certain times you had the show. And if the shows were successful, they kept those contracts. Well, they try to keep those contracts as much as they could. Nowadays, when it comes to the digital medium. Everybody who they got contracts from to show their stuff on Netflix are now making their own. You know, you have the new one, Disney Plus, who a lot of people like. I've heard a lot of people like that. HBO Max, WB and DC have one. There's a lot of them out there. But the big problem is there's so many of them now, and they're running into the same problem that the cable companies are running into. That nobody is gonna sit there and buy 14 different, digital services, digital streaming services, just for a couple of things. Because nobody ingests like all of the media. Me, I used to go to the movies a lot. But mind you, it was mostly for the Marvel movies. That's what I spent most of my money when I went to the movies. I watched all the DC films, Wonder Woman, BVS, Justice League, so all those in theaters. And outside of those, I saw, what was it? Glass and Split. Glass, Split, Fast and the Furious 7 or 8? 8. The first one after, died. So outside of the Marvel movies, wasn't a lot of movies that I saw, not a regular goer, but the Marvel movies made me come out. So when it comes to these digital services, I don't subscribe to any of them at all. I have no need for it. I have no need for any of the digital services. I'm basically on YouTube, which is a different thing. But I'll get to that in a minute. When it comes to digital services, you pay Netflix. I remember when it was $8 or something like that, but I think they're now up to 15 now. So they're up to 15. They're up to 15 now, and a lot of these digital services are getting really expensive. And since everything is spread out, basically concentrated in wherever they were made from, it's making people choose what streaming services do I get and how many do I get. They see it as a lot of money being out there for everybody to have. Nah, Netflix was one thing. Now there's 14 and people are choosing. Disney is probably going to be all right because they have a huge catalog and they've got more of it with the Fox deal that recently happened. But all in still, everybody's not a Disney fan. It may be one or two or a couple of things that people may watch. And they have been notorious when it came to the princess movies. Back in the day, they said that we're going to put this out for 3 months, and only for 3 months we're going to produce this, a hard copy of it, and after that it's going to a vault. They haven't said anything about, as far as the movies, how long these things are going to be up here, because that's the thing about Netflix. They couldn't hold all of that, so everything was on a system basis, and if people weren't watching it, they was going to hold it. And they may be able to bring people in from time to time, depending on what new shows they had, because there's only so much digital space, digital storage space that you can have to house all of these shows. You gotta figure out, like, hey, we're spending all this money for people to come get it. We get it still, it costs a lot of money for us to store all of these. We can't store everything on servers to make it readily available for everyone. And I think Disney's going to catch on to that as well. I mean, you're going to have things to rotate. Like, I don't know if everything is available at the launch. I know a lot of people are waiting for a lot of the Marvel shows to come out based on the MCU. A lot of it coming out, and that's a decision that I'm trying to make. That am I going to get Disney to go get? Because I'm only interested in, strangely enough, not any other shows. All I'm interested in is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's all I'm interested in. Only thing, I'll get it. I would pay for it, not just go through the free trial to say that, okay, I'm spending my money only on this, and if they ask me, I'm like, oh, it's only for this show right here. That'd be like the only reason I would do it. That'd be the only reason that I would, only reason I would do it, just to watch that one show. I'm not in particularly fond of getting streaming services. I don't have one, so getting one just for that. And another thing is Disney is trying to make their streaming services, along with DCWB, they're trying to make their streaming services be the next television, where Netflix, they'll dump everything out there and you can watch it on your own leisure, on leisure. Everybody else seems to be taking, no, this is where you're going to come every week to come watch this particular program. If you want to watch this program, you will come every week to watch it. Like currently with The Mandalorian, where you have to come every week. Everything is not out at the same time. So you're stuck watching it. Some people watch that way, some people don't. And if it wasn't for everything else, would people still come out week after week after week? I mean, once the entire show comes out, it's all of it is there. So would people wait to watch a show till it's 6 episodes in? Because on regular television, they have mid-season breaks now. I don't remember this back in the day. They aired the entire season. And they were off. It was the off season. They didn't come back until the same time next year. That's how it used to be done. But with shows nowadays, they had mid-season breaks where they'll take a month or 2 off, go away. They'll do 6 episodes, go away, and come back and do another 6. Builds up a little bit of hype where you have the height and finale, mid-season finales as well. They just don't end it all. They have, this is the big show, this is the mid-season finale. And then at the end of the year they have the final finale. I know I'm like all the way around the world talking about this this streaming thing, but it's getting complicated. But it's complicated somewhat because to us, the consumer, it's just a price point. How many can we afford? We got off cable because it was too expensive, because there was only so much stuff we can watch, and there's very few people out there who got premium packages where they got every single channel. Like that was a thing like in like the 90s. Like that's how you tell somebody had wealth. Like you walk in the house and they say, oh yeah, I got the premium package on so and so, on so and so cable system. That's all they always said their wealth. Nobody's gonna do that nowadays. Getting 4 and 5 different streaming services for just a couple of shows. And that's what the good thing about Netflix. Netflix had a lot of things, that was comprised on their show. And then recently they started producing their own stuff, where everybody else had their own studios and they were producing stuff. They didn't have a place to put it like after the theaters. If you're lucky, right now in my room, I have over here, in this corner over here, I have 300 DVDs and Blu-rays over here. And in the rest of my room, I have probably like 100 to 200 more, just spread out like throughout the room, because I had no place to put them. It's crazy, but it's hard medium, which I enjoy, because that means I can go watch it at any given point in time. I can pay the $20, $30 Blu-rays are getting up there. 4K is even higher than that. I can watch it at any given point in time. I am not held to a streaming service to go buy it, but it's $30 every time it comes out. And if I'm lucky, I can catch it on sale like a year later. If I'm lucky, if they still have hard copies out there to sell, especially when it comes to smaller movies. Do I have one right here? No, I don't have it. Yes, I do. Yes. Like this was a small movie. Somewhat. It did a couple of, I don't know how much this movie made, Upgrade, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie. But I have a hard copy of it. But where would you find it if you didn't get a hard copy of this movie that, some people saw? Not a lot of people. It was available. It was in theaters. People wanted to see it. And I didn't go to the theater to go see it. Put that back down. I didn't go to the theater to go see it. Because in my lifetime, my experience with movies is that it's in the theater. Then after a while, it gets on, disc, VHS. That's how old I am. It ended up getting on a VHS. You get it and you play it. That's how it is. I have one VHS movie. Actually, that's Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the first Mortal Kombat movie. Yes, I have that on VHS. Actually, I need to get that on DVD and Blu-ray soon, because VHS tapes don't last too long. I used to get a hard copy, and that's what I am, but that takes a lot of storage. Streaming, not so much, because you don't have any of the storage unless you're pirating it. And still, if you're pirating it, you put it on a disk drive, or better yet, external hard drive at best. But even so, that's still 4 gigabytes, 4 gigabytes a pop, and that's not a lot of medium that you have. I have a couple of external hard drives that are terabytes, up in the 6 terabyte range, so I can save movies on there. I don't pirate. You pay for it to let them know that you like seeing stuff like this. That's just me. But a lot of people pirate stuff just because they don't want to pay for it, which is the problem with all these streaming services, which is going to be the problem, because once you have all these streaming services from all these companies, because this is just Disney. What about like other people? What if A24 did it? For those who don't know, A24 is a independent film publisher, distributor. Yes, that's the term I'm looking for, distributor, where they do small time movies. I don't know. I hear their name all the time, but they ended up doing movies, and I think they had a couple of movies nominated for Oscars. A24. What if they had a streaming services? They would never be able to keep it up, because they're a small independent film. They can barely get money to make film, let alone have money on hand to do the streaming service. But it could get to that. And there's so many streaming services out there, like, how much money do you have to pay for it? It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're getting back to the point that you have all these streaming services. How are you going to package all of these streaming services now? Because somebody's going to do it. And the joke that I heard, because the reason why I'm on this topic anyway, because I ain't seen a video from not Comics Explained, his friend Benny from I saw no one bit about it, but he said that pretty soon they have all these streaming services. Now the streaming service is going to be packaged back into cable, and we're getting off the cord just to have a digital cord. That's going to be a very interesting, is that going to be the thing in the future, where we're going to have a digital cord, where we're going to cut the digital cord, and what's going to be the next thing out there? I don't know. It's like, but it's just insane, and the only reason it's done is because all that money Netflix had, the other companies got mad because they didn't have it anymore. They sold it. They sold their properties, well, not the properties, but rights to their properties to be shown on Netflix. Netflix used to air, Disney and Marvel stuff. But then while they're deciding, like, we're gonna let Netflix air this, this show, this Marvel show, and this Disney show, they said, no, we're going to come up with our own thing, set up our own stuff, and we're going to show everything on there. Which they have every right to. But we know two things. The difference between Netflix and Disney is they have two different personalities. Netflix, it's super cable. And what I mean is, when it comes to content, it's a bit racy. Disney is not that racy. It's not known for it. Even at the hardcore, it's always done in a fantasy style, whether it comes to Black Cauldron or Pirates of the Caribbean. The grossest thing that you could ever show is shown fantastically. When it comes to everything else on Netflix, you're putting everything out there, literally. Sometimes it just depends on what they choose to show, as far as violence and sex and all the other stuff that you get with Cinemax, which would be a premium channel on cable. And I think that's the concern that a lot of people had when a lot of stuff gets soaked up by Disney, because everything's going to be so family friendly that they're not going to be able to to go out there. And HBO holds nothing back, but yet still, do they have the wherewithal to produce anything? They did Game of Thrones. They did Sopranos. What's the other thing that they've done? Can't really think about it. And Netflix, you know, they have so much stuff. They was always known for, you know, compiling everything. But there are certain shows that, you know, people go to and be like, wow, this is a good show. Disney would never show this. So is it the only way to get it out there? The other next thing is, you know, like on this digital front, like, and how much are we paying for? Like, what are we willing to pay for? Because you actually right now is paying for free content to entertain you right now on YouTube. And YouTube is trying to go through the same thing where the stuff is behind, you know, certain paywalls where you have to pay for certain content. YouTube, where everything was free, and they're putting up so much stuff that, you know, they have to put ads on it now, you know, in order to, you know, make enough money to keep all of us on YouTube. But you get this, you know, for free. You get this content for free. You get everything else for free. Other gaming channels, skit comedies, shows, and things like that. You get that for free. You get that for free, and you pay for it. And I think YouTube themselves, they're trying to get to the point where, you know, they want to be profitable. They want to be able to have advertisers come in and not walk away. So they're putting a lot of things behind paywalls, you know, what they think is, you know, good property. They're changing their algorithm to make sure that certain stuff is put to the forefront, you know, the friendly, nice Disney type stuff is getting out there. Hell, even Ellen DeGeneres, she has her own, you know, streaming stuff with EllenTube, where it shows nothing but cat videos. You know, good move, but, you know, like, how much content? And I have never seen EllenTube, but I don't know if anybody's putting anything up on EllenTube, but Ellen is producing a lot of shows on her own streaming stuff, EllenTube, with a lot of the people that, you know, end up on her show. She has one show, I'm about to say, I don't think it's with Laverne Cox, but it was another one where certain people came in, and it's just the one that Laverne Cox was on that they end up showing on the show. It was like one had Laverne Cox and no one had Ashley Graham on it, and it was just these people going through similar stuff that those people had went through to, you know, mentor them a little bit. You know, Ashley Graham had somebody dealing with weight, somebody dealing with, you know, weight problems and things like that, and Ashley Graham helped them get comfortable with their body in the hour that they had. Laverne Cox talked to a transgendered man who was basically alone and went through the entire struggle of his transition, you know, by himself. And she was the first transgendered person ever that he ever met, to be a matter of fact. So she's producing stuff, and how much that stuff has ads on it and stuff like that for her to have it all viable, because if you're paying to produce something, you're going to want to see some money back, and you're going to either want to see it in the number of views that you're getting, to have advertisers come in and watch it. So this digital landscape is freaking insane, you know, it's freaking insane. But it's also, you know, funny that I get to compete with Disney and Netflix and what you call it for your time, you know. If it's just for, you know, 30 minutes at a time, it's still, you know, hilarious that this is what can be happening. What used to be the time that, you know, it was Ed Sullivan and then the guy on the street, you know, panhandling, well, not panhandling, but, you know, saying the mime on the street or the guitarist, you know, just playing out there in Subway or whatever. That person is competing with, you know, Jimmy Kimmel. That's amazing. And sometimes the world's mixed. It'd be like, wow, this dude was real good on the Subway. He makes a viral hit, and, you know, then he gets more notoriety through these other, you know, systems, you know, through these other systems, through these other streaming services. Be like, hey, here's unsung talent that you haven't seen that's playing in the Subway. Still profiting off of them. But I'm gonna talk about, like, the not the gap, but the wall talent has to go through from time to time. That's probably be the next thing I'll talk about. But getting still. But I'm going to end it off here, and I just want to say that, you know, this digital landscape is insane with all of these all of these digital services, and it's saying I don't know if I'm ever going to get involved in it. Disney Plus may be the one, and like I said, it's only for one show, so I'm only going to pay $10 for it in my lifetime. I'm not getting on Netflix. I'm not trying Hulu. I'm not trying Saskatchewan, scat.com. I'm not trying all that stuff at all. It's just I've cut the cord, never been on the cord. I don't even watch TV. I am entertained by YouTube. So I don't need any streaming services. And some of you out there who are watching me entertain me as well. So I've cut my cord. I've cut my digital cord as well. And I'm hoping that you're thinking about it as well. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here to the Trajikast podcast. My name is Travis Stott. Thank you for coming out. And until next time, here on GoldenPiDgeon Gaming, thank you.